Well, good evening. I'd like to call this evening's candidates town board meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vestola,
Present.
Councilman Stat,
Here.
Councilman Gronwall,
Here.
Councilwoman Crowley,
Present.
Councilman
Councilman
Mitchell,
is necessarily absent. He called earlier. Salute to the flag. Caitlin McCluskey will lead.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Need a motion for approval of the July 14th minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second. Second. Any comments, discussion? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion to open a public hearing for comments pertaining to local law for a zoning map update. I'll make that motion. Second. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So this map is part of our comprehensive plan update. And are there any comments? Anyone had a chance to review the map?
Looks good.
I thought it looked fine. Not all at once. Supervisor Singer, no comment?
The only comment I have is.
Oh,
Linda and I were talking is that when something affects the zoning, it would have been nice if the zoning board, or if something affects the planning board, they're notified earlier about it, maybe have a chance to,
Take a look.
yeah. What's in it for that? Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's. So,
looking at the minutes helps, right? Go ahead. Yes.
For those who haven't had an opportunity to see what goes on in this zoning map change, can you give us some little overview?
Eileen, would you like to give that overview?
So the only change to the map, the properties, since the zoning map was adopted in 2007, the properties that have been sold to either State of New York, DEC, those types of entities, they're just being moved into the conservation district, nothing else.
Okay.
Thank you. And it's been checked and checked. So, any other comments pertaining to this? This again
And
helps.
just one other clarification, because the majority of the properties that are sold to the state or the land trust or DEC, Parks and Rec, the majority do come off the tax roll, but there are some that do not. The 164 acres that Barbara Christoph sold to DEC did not come off the tax roll, but it's still added to all of their land that's in the conservation district.
Okay, thank you. Motion to close the public hearing? Motion. Second. Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay. And I make a motion to entertain comments pertaining to the candidate's comprehensive plan update. However, typos, grammatical errors, and suggestions, could you just kindly email the board? I will make that motion. I'll need a second.
Second.
Yeah, just open up the public hearing.
Yep.
Okay, and those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
You want comments now?
sure.
Okay, I reviewed the document, and overall, it's very good, lots of improvements relative to the previous one. Did have a couple of comments on page 12, it attributes most of the dead trees in the wetlands as attributed to the ash borer. But I believe many of those were attributed to the gypsy moths. And so I don't know if that should be included or if that's not a correct statement. That's on page 12 in the draft. Attributes them to the emerald ash borer.
The one, the episode that happened 2-3 years in a row, about 5 years back.
Trees.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep.
Well, others did. I didn't know whether that should be included as a cause.
Or maybe,
Since it was a background information.
or maybe too much detail, perhaps.
Uh,
It's another way to look at it.
So those comments did come directly from DEC.
Okay,
I can double check with my contact there if they think there was a significant impact on the gypsy moths as well.
Thank you. Page 17, you include Rob's Trail as an identified trail. You attributed it to the Nature Conservancy. I believe that was Finger Lakes Land Trust.
No, it wasn't Nature Service.
It is Nature Conservancy.
Yeah, right, thank you.
On page 19, there's a discussion on wastewater treatment plants. The comment, and I understand at the time, the code was being updated, but it has now been updated. And I want to mention that there's now new regulations, chapter 92 has been adopted and included in the new code book updates.
Got it, thanks.
And I did have a question about page 37, student participation. I personally didn't feel that that actually belonged in a comprehensive plan. Is there any reason why that was included?
We did an outreach to the school, a couple presentations just to make them aware. In fact, our
But
Chad's son was there. He could maybe tell us a little bit about it, but just to get them involved. And I've been around these students for years, and they were more engaged than they are in the general classroom study. So it was interesting once we put up maps of watersheds and things like that, and just to get them thinking about civics, thinking about their towns.
I understand all that. This is a comprehensive plan, and I just didn't know how those comments and that activity.
Okay, that I don't know.
Contributed to, this is a document's going to guide our town and guide planning. And I don't want to have to necessarily, if you're not going to be here or the person's not going to be here interacting with students, I'm not sure planning board wants to take on that responsibility.
Well, I think it's good for our youth to be engaged in our town. So to have them, I understand what you're saying. I feel like, look at our audience here today. I was hoping some students would be here. We want to embrace our young people. We want them to live here, thrive here, and be involved in government. So I don't know how it got into the plan or all that, but I'm comfortable with that.
I'll speak up. I agree with Ted. I don't, there was no student participation. Yeah, we did a couple outreaches, but I don't think we put any reference to it, but that's my personal.
Yeah.
I just didn't see how it contributed to the comprehensive plan. And when we look at the comprehensive plan as a guiding principle for our town,
Gotcha.
I didn't see how that particular section would help it. So just a comment.
No, that's what this hearing's for. Thank you.
And then on housing, there's been a lot of talk recently from the state level about accessory dwellings. And it's not addressed by name in the plan. I didn't know if that had been considered or if there was a place that could or should have been included in the housing section of the plan.
For
Just a
purposes
question.
of,
To meet the housing shortages.
okay,
New York
Okay.
State has a pretty active program to promote what they're calling accessory dwellings. And what that does is it allows a second residence on a plot.
parcel.
Granny pants.
And we have regulations that don't permit that now.
Discourage it, right, right.
And so I wondered if there had been any discussion, or maybe it's premature since the state has only begun looking at it.
And I was curious about other types of housing. For example, the discussion that we had earlier this year about tiny homes.
Yep, yes.
And does that warrant mention in a comp plan as we look forward?
I think the outcome of that discussion was pretty much that it rests with the code enforcement officer to identify what a dwelling is and, enforce any regulations. I didn't think there was any need brought up to address tiny homes specifically. That was my recollection. And you're right, it's not mentioned in the comp plans.
Well, I see in other sections of the comp plan, for example, there's one section where future dwellings have to have a basement.
Right,
And
a foundation.
yes, it's very specific.
Foundation, so-
Exactly. And so does that preclude, I don't know. Does it preclude accessory structures? Does it, I don't know. I think it might need a little additional thought.
Darla, you have
Might
a
be
comment?
premature, I don't.
Yeah, so I did have a tiny home on a piece of property that I own that's on Holden Drive for a year. And, very delightful person, no problems, no trouble whatsoever. They had septic, water, electric. But there were some issues at that time because the state hadn't, this was probably 2-3 years ago.
Exactly.
And the state hadn't gone as far as they had about, alternative dwelling units as they are now, which they're becoming a lot more receptive and supportive of, tiny houses or, the other opportunity might be a park dwelling
Mhm.
that's more of a permanent installation, but it's not a year-round dwelling. I don't know, there's a spot with yurts up it over in one of the other towns, so there are alternatives. You have this beautiful lake. I mean, I would just love to see more opportunity for people to enjoy it. And just to have it be clearer, what you have to do it. What do I have to do to put a tiny house on my property, or what do I have to do for, a park unit and I do have a question, since you're being so gracious at the moment. Why are residents in RVs limited to 4 months? Does somebody help me out here?
I remember when I was on the planning board, we had extensive discussions. I'll defer to Ted. If I may.
Well, it was in collaboration with the code enforcement officer, these are not permanent dwellings, people. Were beginning to have a tendency to use them as year-round permanent residences, they were not being inspected, they're not being registered. So it was thought that some limits should be placed on the use of trailers, recreational vehicles, and that's why we have the code that we have. We worked quite a bit with our local attorney, our town attorney, code enforcement officer, and planning board about coming up with those. We just felt it needed that kind of regulation.
So my question would be, I certainly see the reason for it, and you don't wanna, find some poor frozen little body stuffed in one in the middle of winter. But why it couldn't be expanded to 6 months, because we do have 6 months of absolutely beautiful weather. You could have, part of April, May, June, July, August, September, half October, that's perfectly, accommodating to be in an RV. And then, of course, it's not an appropriate dwelling through the winter. I mean, I'm not questioning that, but would there be an opportunity to make a suggestion that they revisit the time period?
I think that's more of a planning board than a comp plan
Okay,
issue at this point. So that's certainly something you could bring up at the planning board.
okay,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thanks for the
Yes,
comment.
sir.
I will say on the accessory dwelling units, I sit on the county planning board, and there are other towns that are addressing that issue. That maybe at some time Canada does want to do that, the grandparents. And, but, I think Canandaigua maybe is adopted one, so other towns are looking at that, but. There again, I think, from our survey and all that and all the work we've done on the comp plan. It'd be premature to throw that into the plan at this point. We can always amend the plan later, or the town board can say, we wanna do it. And we may get some comments, because this all goes to the county.
Right.
And there may be some comments that have to do with our housing, it's a whole affordable housing issue going
Initiative,
on
right.
in the state now. Although our housing is affordable, a lot. Which,
Mhm.
Affordable for some.
wow, what is affordable? $200,000 house and 50 is affordable housing.
That's a lot of money for some people.
Well, I understand it, but that's the
It's a
definition.
threshold.
The new
It's a threshold,
definition,
you know.
yeah, yeah,
You can't build a house, can't even do it.
right.
Anyway, those are my comments on adding those kind of things at this point in time.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Birch. It wasn't something that jumped out from any of the survey or the public engagement meetings. And they are currently not allowed for our code. So again, to me, that's more of a code update thing than a comprehensive
Agreed.
item.
Okay, other comments? Thank you
I
all
just
for
wanted to
coming.
point out, and I did really appreciate the updates to chapter 2, particularly around the water quality and the discussion on algae. And the expansion of the wildlife section. I really liked to see those, so I think it's very well written and
I love it.
great job. That's all I have. Thanks.
Yes,
In regards to their comments about the accessory structures and stuff, I think, agree with Birch that I think that's something as we go forward. As a local law update to change, or maybe expand or identify the accessory structure and allowances and stuff based on the district, so I think that's a, local law code update. However, maybe something in the, identified at the end of tasks to be done or addressed, that might be something put in the task to address of expanding or looking at the accessory structures for,
within the plan.
within the plan, so on the task to do that, to look at that. The other only big thing that I found is that, section 2.10.1. This says the town hall is located in the former one-room schoolhouse.
Right.
Yeah.
It is not.
You're kidding.
The courthouse, the courthouse.
Hey, Chris, I beat you to that one, right?
Okay.
I've got it up.
I beat you to that one.
That's a grammatical error. That's not to be discussed in this.
In the town hall has been located on the same property.
So we missed that. So the town board, when we adopted the plan in 2005, missed that, is what you're telling me?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like I can remember yesterday, it was last month.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we were in this.
Yeah, I know, I'm teasing. But yeah, okay, but it's good that we caught it this time. And I was involved in that 2005 plan, 2015 plan, so that's on me too. That's interesting. Other comments, good ones.
So I handed Caitlin, all kinds of things.
You get the bullet one?
Oh, yes, and commas and grammar and fun stuff. Yeah, that's my deal.
Yeah.
And kudos to everyone that contributed to the plan. I think it's an excellent document, looking forward. Page 20, part of the background, to Ted's comment earlier about, the different, species of wildlife here. Coyotes are a keystone species, and I wonder if that should be mentioned, in the plan. I spent, believe it or not, I spent a fair amount of time with the graphs and the charts and looking at changes and trends over time. On page 29, the percent population and the two charts together, the last column, if you look at it, the last column I found very confusing because I was trying to go back and forth between, okay, here's the percentage of increase or decrease, and there's the population stat. And it's because there's an extra column that counts like a 20-year period instead of a 10-year period. So take a look at that. And I offered a couple of suggestions about how to, show that differently. Housing trends, I've also found very interesting. And I was trying to get my head around, the comp plan is based on year-round residences. And yet there's in my opinion, there are a significant number of properties that are seasonal. And the question is, how do we capture that? How do we look at that? And have we solicited input from those folks on what's important? I didn't know.
So anybody who owns property got the survey sent to them. So you, whatever the, wherever your tax bills go is where the survey postcards all went to. There's not a ton of great data
I saw that.
about seasonal versus full-time residents. We did work with Ontario County Planning Department to try and find some of that data. And unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like it's well tracked in any meaningful way.
Okay,
Unfortunately.
okay. One of the things that I would say is important is to recognize in the comp plan the amount of participation that you had. A 21% response rate is excellent. Survey responses are anywhere from 2% to 30%. And so, you know, I think that should be recognized in the comp plan. You have people here that are interested in the town. There's information in there about invasive species. I don't know if that's broad enough. Again, to, you know, Ted's comment about gypsy moths. And all those different invasive species are contributing, what's the other one? The woolly adelgid to issues as we go forward. And so the question is, you know, do we need to spend some time looking at that? Recreational opportunities. So I saw that we're focused on Richmond shared services. My question again to the comp planning board is, are there other opportunities in the other towns that are around us? You know, what goes on in Naples that residents would be interested in, or Springwater? Again, this is really well done. And like I say, I took some time with it. And a couple of things, climate change. I don't think we asked any questions about the survey, but as we look forward, are there things that should be part of our plan? You know, like the HVAC system we put in for the town. And can we, you know, what are some other things that we can do to be proactive there?
To me, too, what the questions kind of in that vein on the survey, and a lot of the short answer ones came up with a lot of water quality and drainage concerns.
Okay.
Which to me are very closely related to that. I think that sometimes terms like that can be a little bit polarizing, so I think it's helpful to talk about what the actual issue is, and you know Jeremy's done a lot of work with Ontario Soil and Water for some of the projects that he's worked on, and so I think where you kind of get into that is in the like implementation tasks and stuff. I know that one of them specifically refers to continuing to work with soil and water on drainage concerns, water quality stuff. And kind of the same thing as far as other opportunities for shared services. So I think because the meat of the plan is sort of talking about what's already existing, and then once we get into some of those like objectives and some assumptions and things, kind of sections 6, 7, and 8, I think is where we kind of talk about opportunities for shared services, and we could certainly expand on highlighting potential other opportunities.
It's just a thought. Yep. And then the other thing that I found in the previous comp plan is there was a section about here's everything from the previous one. And as I looked at the updated one, it's like, okay, did we finish everything that was on that list? And okay, and so, you know, is there a way to pull some of that forward so that we don't lose it if we think it's important?
I definitely took things from the last one that.
I
were
saw that.
recurring Issues to me that from the survey or from any public feedback. So when there were things that were very recurrent, I made sure that we pulled those forward. Those down.
And like I say, nice job, everybody that contributed.
Okay, other comments? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the comp plan.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, now privilege of the floor. You could even go back and talk about what we just talked about.
Make that one comment to just steps, so this is the first of 2 required public hearings. So after this, we will do seeker, we will go to county planning board, and then we will come back to you for a second public hearing, and that at that time is when the plan will actually get adopted. I'm not sure exactly how long it'll take us to get through those couple of other steps, but I will anticipate later this fall.
Excellent. Well, we do have a resolution to approve that. I'll move the local law for the zoning map update. I need a second.
I'll second.
Those in favor? All right, that carries. Thank you.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Local law number 4 is official. Okay, communications. They're all on file. Pretty straightforward. Actually, there's just one item I want to talk about. I did attend another artificial intelligence debriefing at RIT, and it was very forthcoming, and it's incredible how many jobs are going to go away. And it's important to not play with AI, but actually work with AI.
Mhm.
And that came through more and more. On that same day, with the Association of Towns, we ran the Canada's town budget through AI, and it came up with some interesting findings. And it liked what we did. We were one of 3 towns in the state to do that, and that's all available online. You could look at the 1-hour Zoom, but it was excellent. The only thing that came up with was called a hallucination.
Mhm.
A hallucination is AI wants to please you and help you. Well, we were trying to ascertain as our lighting district, how big our lighting district was in the town, and we've never had a lighting district. So that part was false. But other than that, the AI did a deep dive. Town of Middlesex and New Lebanon did it as well. In fact, Jack Barron came up to me today and said, that was awesome. So
Good.
that was with the state attorneys and so forth. Reports, town clerk.
Paying to the supervisor for the general fund, $2,794.88. For water billing, $25,004.43. DEC, $122.82. Animal Population Control Fund, $11 for total disbursement of $27,933.13.
Thank you.
Make a motion to accept the town clerk's report.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Carries, thank you. Historian, no report. The reports for the CEO were in your packets. Anything to add, Joe? He shakes his head no. Oh, he says no.
Joe, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
On the other activities, how do we know when things close?
The county updates me on what's going on. I really am just part of the septic system. And then they invite me to the meetings on Mondays for updates, and they also send me Zooms. So I can forward you updated Zoom meetings from the activities. But as far as the septic goes, I think we're just about wrapped up with that.
Okay, so, here's one of my questions. There were 9 tickets issued for various, failures to comply. Are all of those closed within a 30-day period? How do you
Without-
track those?
The tickets or the violations?
Yes, all of the above.
So our town in particular has a long process with the violations, which it doesn't have to be, and I'd like to address very soon. But right now we go through a 4 month process with violations. And we track that through Excel and it's saved on our network. And we also back that up with paper copies in each uh, residence folder.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question for the CEO report. Are we not? Are you not issuing violations or are they just not showing up on the report that you're sending out to us?
It's in other activities.
Yes, it should be in other activities, and we are putting them on there in the reports. I just think this one they're not on there. It was a
Okay, I guess the one we were looking at, there were none on there, we weren't certain.
Are you talking about the
came in
detail
late.
behind it?
No, just the listing of the violations.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Joe, we have no vision into that.
Yeah, we used to have you used to include violation
Right.
notices
Right.
with a date that it was issued and an expected resolution date, which you were getting at, Kate.
Right.
Is it possible to get that added to the report
Yeah.
that you can distribute to us?
yes, that's in our because our new system doesn't track violations. We're tracking violations through Excel now. So we can add that in Excel through our report.
Well, it would be helpful to the planning board members, you know, we've got a lot of eyes in town here, and we would like to be able to see what the violations, if they've been reported to you,
Mm-hmm.
and violations issued. So we would appreciate if you could include that in once they report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
Got that written down, everyone? Who needs to?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm not writing it down. Excellent. Planning Board, Ted Mainland.
Okay, planning board met on July 28th. We did not have any new business. We did. In that previous month, we had received the final survey maps for 2 subdivisions that had been conditionally approved. And so with the submission of the final survey maps, both of those subdivisions were closed out. We didn't have any new business. We did have a little discussion about updating our code book for the timber harvest. Most timber harvests do not require a site plan because they're managed by a DEC forester or someone who's exempt from site plan. But once in a while we get one, and we had one recently. And reviewing our paperwork, it's old, not very clear, so we're going to begin at least looking into updating our local code and paperwork for timber harvesting, so you can look forward to that coming down in a few months. And we had one person who might possibly be interested in becoming an alternate planning board member, so
Excellent.
that's great. We're full strength now. We have 7, with the addition of Darlis last month. And we have potentially an alternate coming soon, so
Excellent.
that's all we had.
Thank you. Highway, Jeremy.
All right. So we had Midland Asphalt, which is one of our asphalt contractors that we use. They were here. We did our preferred method of a cold mix pave with them on Canada Hill Road, 0.7 miles from the Welch Road intersection to past Harriet Hollister entrance. And then we also did the repair over on Johnson Hill Road that will part on us this winter. They will be here tomorrow to chip seal both of those areas and also the whole entire length of Johnson Hill Road as well. So we regraded the upper and the lower portions of Holmes roads that are the seasonal parts. Been busy with roadside mowing. We're done, just started County Road 36 this morning. Headed
Saw
down
that.
towards Naples, so that's the last little stretch to do on the second round, and then we'll be moving on to third round. And the new tractor has been being used when we have slow time and I have a body available to put in it. So we've spent quite a few days helping our neighbors with shared services. Richmond's, we were in Richmond for almost a whole week helping them pave. Naples, South Bristol. And in turn, they also sent trucks to help us with our projects. So we did some hot asphalt patching, wedging on Candice Lake Road. Just north of Purcell. And then also down near the Holmes Road intersection. We're also over on Hayward Hill Road doing a little bit. And the plan is here, once we're caught up with our projects, there is quite a bit down on Candice Lake Road that needs attention, so we will be addressing that here shortly. Hopefully with the town of Springwater helping us, and we'll go help them in return. Filling some time, we spent a day and a half down along Candice Lake Road, removing gravel buildup and the inlets and the outlets of several of the pipes out there. This also is in line with our preventative maintenance for storms. You know, we like to be proactive instead of reactive when it comes to that. And the contractor that we use for center line striping, he was here last week, did 8.5 miles. And there's a third round that'll be probably towards the end of September. So we'll have the remainers done then after we've had a chance to finish our chip sealing and asphalt patching. So the tracked excavator that we have, we had a hydraulic leak on the main pump. So we did take that over to Milton Cat out in Batavia. They had it for probably 2 weeks. In the meantime, while they were working on it, we were informed, because of the age of it, that parts are very scarce, and there was, luckily they had the seals and what they needed to fix it, but hopefully it'll hold what they did, because there is no replacement pump available for that, and rebuild kits are not available for it. So we did have that was $4,300, I believe the bill was. So when we purchased the loader earlier this year, our build spec included a automatic greaser, which was not put on the loader. So we had a $5,000 credit with Milton Cat. So that was used to pay for that service bill.
Good.
And I also included spreadsheet for equipment replacement for next year. Having a hard time understanding why I can't get quotes from the auto dealers, and you know, I just I believe they don't want to sell a pickup truck, but I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on 2 more quotes.
Is that because of we're in a municipality? Jerry?
So the ones from Van Bortle, he's always super busy, and last time I tried to buy a price through him, he had a stack of build specs on his desk that he had to go through. I did receive the one for a Ford from him today. I'm waiting on a Chevy, and then I'm still waiting on a quote for a Dodge Ram from Friendly Dodge over in Geneva.
I'm wondering if it's got something to do with the tariffs.
I believe so, and because I've been upfront with them and saying that the money is not available until next year,
Okay.
the budget. I mean, I could go in right now, buy something off of their lot that kind of met our specs, but I think they are kind of holding off on actually giving me a price because they don't want to really commit to anything just yet. So yeah, for the equipment replacement, that includes a pickup truck. Working on pricing for the replacement of the boom mower tractor and mowing equipment. And the equipment trailer. We potentially have a used one from the town of East Bloomfield. I am still waiting for Teetsworth's sales rep to go over there and give them an appraisal on it. And then I do have all the numbers for the boom tractor. And I did get a quote from John Deere of $28,000 as a trade-in for our existing one, which we thought was actually fairly decent, but. So that gives us the baseline as to what to possibly expect and revenue from the sale of that.
So back to the excavator for a second. What's the long-term plan to replace that?
At the moment, there isn't really one. It's kind of a specialty machine. We're lucky enough to be one of the few towns that actually has a large tractor excavator like that. And,
Would we be able to retrofit another type of pump in there?
no,
No possibility of that?
no,
It's 20 years old.
yeah,
But the useful life is usually a lot more than 20 years for that type of equipment. For the amount of what we use, what's that?
No, it's equipment.
it,
They change series and everything so quickly on them.
right.
What's the
I
useful
don't
life?
know offhand what the DOT's life expectancy is for that machine, but there's probably like 15-20 years.
They change series so quickly on them. So then once the series is changed, you can't get the parts. They keep them around for 10 years and then.
Then we're done.
Yeah, it was used when we
That's what I
bought
thought.
it
Bought
to
it.
begin with, so,
Oh.
I mean, you're looking at a $300,000 machine there, so.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay.
But at the moment, there is no replacement plan for that machine.
See that. Okay. Thank you.
Jeremy, the tracked excavator looks like it's 20 years old.
Mhm.
Is that something that we're going to have to replace, or can you get along without it when you can't repair it?
Yeah, that's what we were just discussing. That's something we're gonna have to visit in the future here. You know, it's like I said, we're lucky enough to be one of the few towns that actually own a piece of equipment like that, but. For what we do with getting in these creeks down along Candidates Lake Road, and you need to have that machine to get off the road. So.
Right. We can certainly
And,
borrow one
and for
from
all
you.
the Fleximat that we've been installing, it's so much easier to use that machine than
Sure.
the rubber tire.
We could get a similar piece of equipment from a neighbor in a pinch.
In a pinch, yeah, or we could rent something.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you. Nice report. Appreciate the detail. Okay. Terry.
I'll
Anyway,
try to
like-
be brief. The lake has been in great shape this summer. I would like to take credit for that, but I can't. Have to give credit to Mother Nature, the weather. So Honeoye Lake is what's called palmitic. It tends to mix every 3-4 weeks during the summer. And phosphorus is released from the bottom sediments when it's stratified. This year, it got hot early. And it's stratified in June. And it is still stratified as of this morning. And that's holding the phosphorus down. So we're in good shape until the lake mixes. Kate, when you look out toward the lake and you see whitecaps, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And you will have a blue-green algae bloom. I did want to highlight for Chris, well, all of you got invites, the board and Jeremy. The Genesee Watershed Implementation Workshop, August 26th, 2:00 at the Richmond Town Hall. It's an update to the 9E plan from 2015. It's a 10-year update, which I thought was great. And then I sent emails to all the principals. And I'm gonna have to speak with our state senator about this. So there is no funding that goes with this. So you should be submitting anything that you've got on your radar to them. What this will do is give you bonus points. It'll give you an advantage when you soil and water applies for a WQIP grant. But unlike the Eastern Finger Lakes, the Owasco River,
Seneca watershed.
yeah, they got special funding for their implementation plan. We did not. So I'll be speaking to our state senator.
Genesee watershed did not.
Does not.
Okay. We could also reach out to Andrea
But
Bailey.
that doesn't change anything. That could change. You should still submit it. For example, Jersey Hill, you should submit it to these people. I realize you plan, if you don't get the grant this time and have to apply next year, this would help. So that is that. So I was a little bit disappointed because I thought there was going to be special funding that came with that. And I held the quarterly Honeywell Lake Watershed Task Force meeting on July 24th. Well attended, a lot of good project updates and normal business, and that is my update.
Thank you. You all received the assessor's report. Pretty detailed as always. And she is now a certified sole assessor. So that's the biggest update on that sheet. Water District Operations, Kate.
So, normal month for the month of July. It was 92,000 gallons lower than last year. But some of that is because of when the pumps occurred in June. There was one right at the end of June. And so that, maintains the water level in the tank for a while. So I went back and I looked year to date, which you can also see on the water reconciliation report, very similar year to date, with approximately a 7% uptick in water consumed. So nothing exciting.
That is good.
Yes.
That is good news.
Did the city of Rochester mow the tank site?
No, I had Joel did it.
Yeah,
Okay.
But speaking of that, since you brought it up,
our mower.
would
did it.
love to have or Boom kind of hit that hillside as he goes by in the next 48 hours.
That's on, that's on his list of things to do.
Make it-
He
make
didn't reach up so far, but
Yeah, but it was difficult for Joel. He had to go all the way up to the tank, but couldn't do what you could do.
okay.
Thank you.
It would
I was gonna
help.
bring that
It
up
would help.
privately, but that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Excellent. Anything else, Kate?
That's it
Okay,
for now.
all right.
And as you know, I did reach out to Dave Raleigh to see if our updated contract is in yet. I have not heard back.
Correct. Okay, financial report's been submitted. I'll need a motion, then a second, then any discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. Okay, like to block two resolutions, the general fund budget transfer and the JCAP budget transfer.
before we do that, I have a question.
Sure. Will they be there
That's
for
a
the
quick-
discussion? But, okay,
I have distinct memories of discussing this court grant, but there was no deliverables in that discussion. And I still don't see the deliverables on this. In other words, they got the money.
Mhm.
You're asking us to approve it, but what's it for? There's nothing on it. There's nothing here that says what it is for, that I saw. And they wouldn't define it before. I'm sure that was the case.
Mhm.
well, it's interesting because they did come from the court, but those monies are there. And those monies were expended and we approved those.
For what purposes? I'm simply asking for what purpose?
Good question.
Before I approve this, I just want to know what
What they
you're
did
gonna
with the
use the
money.
money for. Keep it simple.
So they've used the money, they've expended, I think it's $10,000 to date. Out of the, 16,000 that was approved. And I'm aware of some of the items. I know that there's a new computer that was purchased. Which was, long overdue. There's some bulletproof glass that was installed. Again, as a safety issue. And, we can ask for a list. I'm sure that the, expenses were legitimate.
Well, this is kind of backwards, but to me, this is backwards. But I would like to see a list of how they're gonna use this money. We can approve this tonight but I would like to see the list.
Okay.
I'm not in the mode of just,
We okayed this, last year. So, the okay was done,
Yeah,
months ago.
with the understanding that we would get detailed projects defined, should they get the award.
Okay,
We have, but we can,
So
can
we
reach
can
out.
approve this, but I still would like to see.
why don't you reach out? You can reach out
I can
yourself.
do that.
If you reach out, you'll get that information. How's that? I'll put you in charge of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
All right,
fine.
thank you.
Now you can block these if you want.
Okay.
So is it all in favor for this then?
yes.
We
For the
didn't vote,
bills?
we didn't vote yet, but.
No. So if
Those
there's
in
no other
favor?
question,
Aye. Okay, they both carry.
Okay, so
Well,
I know. If we're gonna do an update to the monitor in here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to preserve that central data budget. We'll have to take it out of contingency,
okay,
okay?
okay.
Can we
Yeah, it was budgeted, like I said.
I understand, but like I say, the conversation that we had, I did not realize that the 3,000 was for the monitor in here. So we're gonna have to use contingency and not central data processing.
Okay.
Okay.
That's because those computers were a little bit.
Okay,
Okay. There's budget modifications, basically.
yeah,
That's why I like to do them later.
sorry about that. I
That's why I
know.
like to do them later.
Alright,
Moving right along, we complete our harassment training and just again, all do need to take this. And it's only gonna increase more next year with the mandatory cyber training for all town employees. Honeywell Central School Day of Service is October 3rd. Again, I'm looking for folks that want to help the town, help the community. Please help. Thank you to Eileen. Large code book update was done and suddenly we've already got a few more to process. Stay tuned. New business. Setting a time and place for a budget workshop pertaining to the town of Canada's tentative budget. There was some discussion earlier tonight. And Mark, want,
Can we do it on Monday, September 22nd at 4:30? Because that'll be before Ted's meeting, which is at 7, correct?
Yes.
Your meeting's at 7.
unless you want to move your meeting. I'm okay with it. I checked my calendar. I'll just have to miss a Public Works meeting. And pray that I don't have to run it.
right.
Terry? Monday, budget meeting, 4:30. Monday, September 22nd.
Just a second.
And that'll be good because
Yeah,
we'll have
that's
to be,
fine.
we'll have to be done by 7:00.
That's the same day, that's the same night, there's a planning board meeting.
There
Right.
is. So we'll have to make it snappy. 2.5
well,
hours.
that gives you 2 hours.
Right.
So unless you think you can't do it in 2 hours,
Oh, it can be done. They'll be well prepared. We're even gonna work on it on September 3rd, which we'll talk. Anyways, I'm making that motion for now, September 22nd, just amending that resolution. Eileen,
And
Okay, at 4:30.
at 4:30,
All right.
What, you said 4:30?
4:30
4:30.
PM,
Thank you.
Monday. Oh, of course. Those in favor?
Second? I need a second.
30
Second,
seconds.
Terry seconded. Sure. Setting time and place for public hearing to entertain comments for fire district on September 3rd. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appreciation for Stephen Grote, full member of the Canadian Planning Board for 22 and a half years.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Second.
second.
Props to Steve. That's my discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Okay, here's a good one. Propane contract for 25-26. Last year I tried and recommended to the board for a 2-year contract, but it didn't happen, which is fine. This year, my personal feeling is we should think about buying a tank, because if we went with Marabito, 500-gallon tank lasts about 30 years. That's what my research says. Takes about 1,500 to 3,000 to install. We'd break even in 5.5 years, saving taxpayers about $400 a year. But I'll be glad to have discussion. So our usage, I put the volume in there. Our usage is about between 3,000 and 4,000, depending on the season.
Yeah, if we do Morabito instead of Superior, it's like $800 right off the bat that we save.
Yep, and they're transparent. They don't, there's no hidden fees.
Correct.
It's transparency. And I was a Valley customer. I was actually a customer of someone else, and then I went to Valley when Marabito bought Valley out. Their customer service is incredible from a residential standpoint.
Mm.
I don't know about municipal, but I'm pleased with them. Absolutely pleased. That's,
Issue with the existing tank.
The only issue with the existing tank is it belongs to.
Superior, we'd have to empty it.
Right.
I believe that was a buyout after 10 years. I
The-
think Superior is blowing smoke up your butt.
The one at the highway?
Oh, you're talking highway?
Highway.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay,
I
no,
thought you were talking about the one at town hall.
no, we own that one.
Yes.
Yeah,
yep,
Okay.
yep.
yeah.
So, is
Are
it,
they gonna have the same remote gauge on there so they don't run us out of gas?
I don't know the answer to that.
Cause that's a big thing.
Okay,
Yeah. we could table that again, but I just wanted to bring this forward just so we're in time for the heating season. We can revisit it September 3rd.
so I will tell you that Wentz has remote monitoring, as does Superior. I did not ask Morabito, whatever you call them.
Marabito.
Okay,
Yeah, they won the state bid for diesel and gasoline.
he made that very clear.
Which is huge. Their footprint is a good one.
So what rate are they giving the town per gallon?
The,
Oh, nine?
the town
no
or the
hazmat fee.
employees?
Pardon?
The town or the
That the,
employees?
That we attach ourselves to.
It's
the town hall.
229 for employees. Unless it's supplemental, and then it's 250, round it to 250. And again, I asked specifically about the hazmat fees. Cause I know that adds up over time, and Rabido is not charging a hazmat fee.
To anyone.
Correct.
So being in the heating and air conditioning field, I'm under the impression that when you get a tank from supplier, there is no charge.
For-
So different for commercial.
For the tank? That's correct. We're talking about buying the tank.
Correct. So like, what is our price savings per gallon opposed to just having a tank for free?
Right, I didn't ask
the theory behind buying our own tank would be, we have the independence to
To switch.
go elsewhere year to year.
It also gives us some leverage too in negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
We're not beholden to someone else, and it's good to have our own assets, and
Good question.
I think we'd be
I
okay.
get all that stuff, and I was just.
Sure.
If there was a significant price change, or a price difference, because. I mean, freeze free, if you're saving like 30 or 40 cents a gallon, that's huge, but if you're saving 5 cents a gallon, it's gonna take longer than 5 years to recoup our money back.
Right.
5.5 is what I calculated.
Okay, let me go back to
But-
Moravido and give you a price if we own both tanks.
Yeah.
He knows we own one.
Okay, I think I would like to see. I call it a business case, it's not a business, but I would like to see a justification, the two scenarios on a piece of paper
Okay,
for the next meeting.
okay.
What, I guess, is there hydro testing or testing with the tanks or anything, or? I mean, you might say it's good for 30 years, but I mean, you're
I can tell you
hoping.
when we had our fire in 2005 and we asked for a new tank, they hydroed it, said it was good, and the tank is from before we moved in '86.
So they don't hydro test it then?
They hydro tested it like 30 years later,
Okay.
but.
No, that's what I didn't know. That's,
Usually there isn't a need for hydro unless you have a leak.
Mhm.
Which is usually caused by the line breaking or a fitting leaking, not necessarily the tank.
Okay, so you're gonna own the highway and the town hall. You're not gonna own the water district tank. You good with that?
The water district tank, I bet it's still 3/4 full.
Right,
It hardly is used.
okay, and are we gonna stay with Superior? Or are you gonna switch it out?
I think Moravido all the way.
I would probably say if you've got 3/4 of a tank in that, you run that as long as you possibly can.
Oh,
And-
it'll last probably 10 years though, at the rate it's been going.
And then flip it?
change it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you,
Say it weren't
Yeah,
cheap.
I wouldn't bleed, yeah, not that one.
okay,
I misunderstood the question, yeah.
okay,
Okay. So we'll table this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll get some numbers.
As you see, the parking lot got restriped. Jeremy, thank you for setting that up. Approval of the bills.
I move.
I'll second.
Those in favor? Aye, carries, okay. I just wanted to bring up the Ontario County landfill. 2 leachate spills. Reported quickly by Casella. DEC checked it out. They were both done and taken care of. To me, the landfill operator is excellent. That's my take. So I get rid of it.
That's a great question.
And I was the only no, again, I was the only no vote. And it's never over till it's over, but it's frightening as things go on. It's frightening. If residents want to get more involved, now is a good time to do it. That's all I can say.
Well, how?
Speak up, go to a meeting, ask when the next community stakeholder meeting is.
Exactly. We were supposed to have a follow-up meeting. We were also supposed to receive information on the financial impact. We've seen nothing.
I was told it was just one and done, even though on the PowerPoint today it said plural stakeholder meetings, and to me, meetings is plural.
Mhm.
Unless Barton or Judas, our consultant, is making mistakes, I don't know.
Oh.
So,
I have one question, privilege of the floor.
of course,
Any update from Ontario County on short-term rentals and adjusting the county code?
it is a,
Is it on the to-do list?
it is, and it's a bit of a hot potato that I can't discuss at this time, but we will be able to discuss it.
Okay,
Fun stuff from the county. And also how that money's being split up is a little contentious too. There's a lot going on
mm-hmm,
under the radar. Other privilege of the floor. This is a quick meeting. I budgeted 2 hours.
Well, you can hang around here.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I'll second. Those in favor?
Bye.
Thank you for coming. All these